So this is part 2 to our weapon random rolls video. We've already covered part 1, which was a small batch of the weapons. Now this is the much bigger batch of all of them. Now, if you're curious to know like things like what enhanced traits are, some of them we really took our time to look at when we first saw them through our first videos. You may want to check that one out first. With that being said, let's get into it. Now, the next weapon on our list is Reckless Endangerment. This is a kinetic shotgun and actually a lightweight shotgun. Now, this is the pinnacle weapon or the ritual weapon for this season. Got a sexy look to it, and it actually has 3 different origin traits you can choose from. One of them is Vanguard's Vindication. The other one is One Quiet Moment, where it actually grants increased reload speed when out of combat, and of course, Invader Tracker. Now, personally, I'm probably just gonna go Vanguard's Vindication, but we'll see. This to me looks like a PvP shotgun though. I'm loving that perpetual motion, full choke assault mag with snapshot combo. That's kind of what I'm leaning toward. You can do a swashbuckler build with this though, guys. Like if you're going in with like a melee build, every melee will give you that +5 there in swashbuckler, which is pretty nice. And of course, steady hands improves handling for all your weapons. So for that quick swap back and forth to your other guns, steady hand here could work really well. Now, next we have Empirical Evidence. This is actually a weapon you're gonna have to craft in one of the evidence board quests. This is an aggressive burst sidearm. So think things like Smuggler's Chosen, Breach Light, etc. Now, this weapon also comes with Psycho Hack, where the sustained damage from your weapon lowers the target's damage output for a short duration. Probably being a 2-burst weapon, maybe that will actually hit those stacks even faster. But we actually had a lot of playtime with these 2-burst sidearms. I personally really like them, but to be honest with you guys, you either love them or you hate them. Being a sidearm though, I do like the idea of a Harmony perpetual motion roll or even a Harmony tunnel vision roll. Imagine getting killed with a sniper rifle or maybe even a shotgun if you're just running and gunning, and then immediately swapping over to the sidearm. You have that increase there in its damage with Harmony, and then you're gonna have tunnel vision that will increase your target acquisition, and noticeably so after reloading after a kill. That's kind of where I'm leaning toward as far as the PvP role goes. And if you're looking to like main the weapon, either Dagio and Swashbuckler with perpetual motion, and I know Encore's down there, but Encore again, guys, still not my favorite perk. Now for PvE, you do have Wellspring, which is pretty nice. Wellspring and maybe Pulse Monitor, and I only throw Pulse Monitor there because Bungie really wants us to use that trait. But considering you're going to be in close quarters of your enemies, you may be surprised how often Pulse Monitor actually procs. Now next we have a sniper rifle that is returned to us. That's right, guys, Silicon Neuroma. There were so many people that loved this sniper rifle, and honestly it felt pretty good. Its zoom is 43, and we know that Bungie just made an adjustment to low zoom sniper rifles. They actually have increased target acquisition. Now this is a kinetic sniper rifle. It's in the aggressive frame archetype. Its different origin traits is of course stunning recovery, which is pretty nice, and of course Vanguard's Vindication. Now the trait combinations that I want you to consider, especially inside of PvE, are perks like Firing Line and Triple Tap. You can never go wrong with this, guys. Get a magazine perk there, bump that mag up, take advantage of Firing Line and that increase in 20% damage, especially if you're rifting up with your teammates. That is a fantastic combination to go with. The other thing I'm curious about, again, is just Focus Fury and Triple Tap. How do these reload traits like Triple Tap and 4 times a charm, how does that affect Focus Fury? Now for PvP though, I always want Snapshot, and this one has it. Not only does it have Snapshot, it also has Opening Shot with it. For PvP, guys, you can do a Snapshot Opening Shot combo with say something like Fluted Barrel, and this weapon should feel oh so smooth, and you have that increase there in accuracy. That's honestly the rolls that I would look for on this sniper. Next up we have Thoughtless, another sniper rifle. This one deals stasis damage in that kinetic slot, actually in the adaptive frame archetype. It's got a little higher zoom, but not by much, only at 46. So I'm honestly looking at it for PvP. Combinations that I'm really interested in are of course Firmly Planted and Snapshot. And this weapon also has Land Take as its origin trait, which may be really good if you're playing aggressively with a sniper rifle, especially in things like PvE, right? Like you're up close, you've got enemies closing down on you, you land a quick body shot on a PvE enemy, and boom, you've got damage resist. Now for PvE though, I would consider a Firing Line Overflow combo with like a mag perk. This could greatly increase the mag size and may actually be fantastic for DPS phases. Also Overflow and Focus Fury. Dude, Focus Fury is literally on everything. And you also have a perk like Headstone there, which we can't overlook. Now for Firing Line, you don't have to do an Overflow combination. You can do Firing Line and Rapid Hit together. This will give you that quicker reload speed when landing those precision shots. And as far as my PvP players go, there's going to be 2 different camps. There's going to be those that actually crouch to take advantage of traits like Firmly Planted, which is a very good trait. And then there's those that just like run and gun. So things like Perpetual Motion and Snapshot together. That's a good combination to go with there. And I would still use Snapshot on this sniper. Next up, we have Forensic Nightmare. This is also another craftable weapon. Has that Psycho Hack origin trait. And I just want to jump straight into these enhanced traits, as some of these we still haven't even seen. Sympathetic Arsenal, reloading a short time after a final blow, also reloads stowed weapons. So it's a short duration and not immediately. Grave Robber, enhance. Melee final blows, reloads this weapon's magazine from reserves. Also improves reload. So you actually get a bump there in this reload, as well as how it functions. Under pressure, greatly improves stability and accuracy as the magazine gets lower. Now this tells me under pressure is just working better. And let me just say, under pressure on certain weapons is stupid. Like try a fusion rifle out with under pressure inside of PvP. It has crazy accuracy. Everything else from heating up to thresh, those just have increased there in its overall potency, duration being increased there for heating up. Thresh giving a little more super energy. Now Swashbuckler also has an enhanced version where the weapon gains increased damage for an improved duration from melee final blows and defeating targets with the weapon. So essentially the same thing here, guys. It just has improved duration. Now Encore, enhance. Precision final blows grant a stacking range bonus to this weapon. Non-precision final blows remove the range bonus stacks, but grant bonus accuracy and stability when all range stacks have been removed. The overall effect duration has been improved. I don't really know if I care for that, because overall it wasn't the duration that was causing me problems with Encore. It was its potency, and it just wasn't there. Now Headstone just has that improvement in stability. Perpetual motion persists longer, as well as harmony. Slideways, sliding partially reloads this weapon's magazine and temporarily boosts handling and stability greatly. Now this might actually be very interesting. We're gonna have to give this one a go. And Kill Clip, reloading after defeating a target grants increased damage for an improved duration. So even longer than its base duration of 5 seconds. Now in terms of the god roll to go for, guys, I love harmony on an SMG. It feels fantastic. Harmony and heating up together, even better. But guys, you can't go wrong with a high caliber round perpetual motion kill clip roll, especially this being a 600 round per minute precision frame SMG. That right there will probably be the combination I use to compete with the likes of other SMGs in the game. And I'm talking like Multimac, Shiora, etc. Now, of course, we got to see the range, right? Ricochet rounds, hammer forge, or even full board, depending if we can live without the stability. We have to see how much reach it actually has. But 600s normally have some pretty good reach. For PvE though, you do have options like Swashbuckler and Grave Robber together, and also combinations like Slideways and Headstone, especially the enhanced versions. Now moving on, we have Come to Pass. This is an energy auto rifle, craftable as well, shoots at 360 rounds per minute, and this weapon also has a host of enhanced traits as well. Guys, I'm interested in this one even more than the other 360. Despite the other 360 feeling so good, I'm interested in this one because of the enhanced traits. One of them peeking its head out is, of course, is adaptive munitions. This weapon adapts its damage output to be more effective against energy shields that don't match its damage type. It also improves damage increase. Now, a very specific perk, but we might be able to make it work. We also have Golden Tricorn, where final blows of this weapon grant bonus damage for an improved duration. While this buff is active, grenades or melee final blows of the same damage type greatly increases its damage for an improved duration. Now, just looking at this thing as far as like the god roll, for PvP, nothing is really standing out to me. Like maybe a perpetual motion dragonfly roll, or if you're just trying to lean into your neutral game abilities, Wellspring and perpetual motion. And for PvE, you do have One for All, and we also discussed the option of One for All and Stats for All together, as those perks seem to really synergize right there. But if you're gonna lean into like the shield breaking of adaptive munitions, you can do Genesis with adaptive munitions, right? We'll have to try this one out, guys. I'm curious about it. Moving on to Sweet Sorrow. This is an energy auto rifle in the rapid frame archetype. And if you notice, guys, Bungie's giving us not just a kinetic option, but also energy options, which is pretty awesome. Now, this one comes with the Land Tank origin trait, which may still be very useful, although the Vice origin trait looks superior to me. But the different combinations here and its enhanced traits are pretty interesting. You have Turnabout, which can actually stack with the origin trait, right? One giving you an overshield, the other one boosting your damage resistance. This combination has me wondering how tanky can you actually get. And since Pulse Monitor now procs even sooner, you could do like Pulse Monitor and Turnabouts with Land Tank together. Now, based on what we normally use, obviously Vorpal and auto-loading holster or Vorpal and triple tap will be a pretty good option. And you can even do things like One for All, as well as Perpetual Motion Enhance. And then we also have Focus Fury and triple tap. And again, that's still a combination that I'm wondering about. But as far as PvP goes, hands down, tap the trigger, Killing Wind, I think that's going to be the way to go. Killing Wind, especially the enhanced version with an improved duration, is going to be so good. Killing Wind is already an S tier perk. Combine that with tap the trigger, this is going to be one aggressive auto rifle. Moving on to Under Your Skin, a precision frame bow that deals void void damage with a 684 draw time and a number of enhanced traits. Now, some interesting ones here is, of course, Firmly Planted being enhanced, where it greatly increases accuracy, stability, and handling when firing while crouched. And Enhanced Unrelenting, where rapidly defeating targets triggers health regeneration, guardians of powerful combatants count as more than one target, and it also improves handling. So that's a secondary benefit there. You also have Hipfire Grip that's enhanced, which is pretty interesting. Maybe you can use this as like a Hush wannabe. Opening Shot, which greatly improves accuracy and not just a base improvement to accuracy, which was already good by itself. Enhanced Dragonfly, which not only causes those elemental damage explosions, but also improves reload. And Enhanced Tunnel Vision. Reloading after defeating a target greatly increases target acquisition and aim down sight speed for an improved duration. Now, Tunnel Vision is already really good, but certain weapons it doesn't work really well with, right? For a bow that's constantly reloading after every single shot, yeah, Tunnel Vision can work. And you're gonna get an improved duration here? Absolutely. Now, we also have Successful Warm-Up, where it states that each final blow increases charge and draw speed. Now, the enhanced version of this does those same exact things, but for an improved duration. We also have Enhanced Archer's Tempo, and of course, Adaptive Munitions. Now, for me, guys, for PvE, yes, I'm looking at that Enhanced Archer's Tempo Successful Warm-Up combo. Fellas, how low can we go? How fast can we get that draw time? And I'm thinking pretty dang fast. Outside of that, some other combinations that are always good on these bows, of course, Archer's Tempo and Dragonfly, Archer's Tempo and Explosive Head, all enhanced here too, by the way, guys. I think it's going to be very, very nasty. And for PvP, I'm leaning toward that Opening Shot, Firmly Planted combo. And if not that, maybe that Successful Warm-Up Tunnel Vision combo. Just literally feeding into each other. One shot after another, every single kill, improving that target acquisition. A good bow user can impress you. Really, imagine a good bow user with tunnel vision. Next up, we have the Energy Fusion Rifle, Lightly Suspect. Another craftable weapon in the Rapid Frame archetype. And I gotta say, guys, this fusion rifle is so good. I love it. It has become one of my favorite fusion rifles in the game right now. Now, it has a lot of different enhanced traits, and of course, that Psycho Hack origin trait. But let's go over some of these real quick. We pretty much already know exactly what all these do. Of course, Enhanced One for All has improved duration. But for me, guys, for PvE, I'm interested in Successful Warm-Up. Yeah, Successful Warm-Up and Slideways, the enhanced version. I'm interested in seeing how this combination works. Now, if you're looking for a damage perk, One for All and Slideways can actually be a combination to go for. And maybe even Adagio and Slideways. I will say, though, a fusion rifle, because of its burst pattern and those bolts spreading out, you can hit multiple targets at once. Now, for PvP, honestly, I'm leaning toward Adagio more than any of these. And maybe an Adagio Firmly Planted roll or an Adagio Slideways roll for that bump there in stability. Tap the Trigger got a hefty nerf for fusion rifles. Maybe this enhanced version of Slideways could replace that. Either way it goes, guys, a fantastic fusion, and I think you're going to really like it. Moving on to Snorri FR5. This is an energy fusion rifle in the Precision Frame archetype. So look out, main ingredients. It deals void damage, and it has the Omlon Fluid Dynamic origin trait, where essentially the weapon has increased reload speed and stability for the top half of the magazine. Now, it's unfortunate because inside of PvP, you're always spawning with just 2 rounds in your mag, which means you're really not going to be able to take advantage of Omlon Fluid Dynamics. However, some roles I want you to consider for PvP specifically before we get into PvE: High Impact Reserves, Firmly Planted. I know it also has Surplus as well. It's really hard for me to take advantage of Surplus these days, though, because abilities are so good now, right? So I feel like I'm constantly using my abilities, which means I'm maybe only sitting at like 1 stack of Surplus. You also have Heating Up, which, by the way, I gotta say, guys, Heating Up on a fusion rifle, if you can get it going, is very, very good. Now, for PvE, Reservoir Burst is on this weapon, and I love Reservoir Bursts on things like Glacial Chasm, right? Especially with perks like Slide Shot, where I can auto-reload the weapon. Reservoir Burst here at Snorri, it doesn't have that luxury. There's no Slide Shot, and I've been spoiled. Now, I know we have Omlon Fluid Dynamics, so you can just reload the weapon after every single shot, and depending on that increase in reload speed, maybe. But honestly, guys, that's a big maybe. Now, potentially, you could do Compulsive Reloader with Omlon Fluid Dynamics and Reservoir Bursts, and maybe that reload speed is just super fast, where you constantly have that magazine fully topped off with Reservoir Bursts. Now, moving on, we have the Enigma. This is actually the first glaive and actually the first weapon you will craft. Now, the glaive has a ton of different things you can choose from and things that I just have not used yet. And the glaive functions very differently, right? It has a melee feature, a shield feature. You can also shoot the glaive. We even see some traits here that we haven't seen before. One of them being Unstoppable Force, blocking damage with your shield shield, increases projectile damage for a short duration, and we also have enhanced versions of each of these. Now, the question that I had early on was, can Grave Robber reload this weapon when I get melee kills with it? I'm assuming yes, because that's the way it's supposed to work, right? Maybe one of you can confirm that. But I like the idea of like a Grave Robber Rampage combo, or maybe a Grave Robber Unstoppable Force combo, or maybe a Grave Robber Frenzy combo. And then of course you got Kill Clip, and you can do a Kill Clip Frenzy combination. Really guys, there's just so many different combinations here on this glaive that I really just don't know, as far as my playstyle goes, where I fit in here. But one of the new traits here is tilting at windmills. Blocking damage with your shield increases movement speed until you lower your shield for an improved duration. So I guess if you're like having to block and move through a certain area, maybe you're trying to protect your teammates, you can block, have that increased movement speed, and that way you can keep up with maybe your teammate that's trying to move. Now the next weapon is Explosive Personality. What a lovely name. This is actually a wave frame grenade launcher. It deals solar damage, and it also has that land tank origin trait as well. Now I love wave frames. You've probably even seen the new exotic grenade launcher that's also a wave frame. The beautiful thing about wave frame grenade launchers is just purely how many targets they can hit at once. So the perks I'm actually looking at here the most, and by the way, these are enhanced, one of them is One for All. I love the idea of One for All and Feeding Frenzy together. Go to there, drop a wave frame grenade launcher down on the ground, hit a group of ads, boom, you proc One for All with that improved duration, and then you got Feeding Frenzy that's increasing that reload speed. Now, if you didn't want to do that, you can of course do Stats for All. Now, if you're looking to use this wave frame primarily and say something like PvP, which you most definitely can, Disruption Break auto-loading is the way to go. That's exactly what I would be using. Go in there, pop a shield with Disruption Break, maybe have like a last word swap off, boom, you've got that increase in kinetic damage. And by the way, Enhanced Disruption improves the duration in which your opponent is more vulnerable to kinetic damage. Now the next weapon is Cantata, and I hope I'm saying that right. I am being told that this is the Annual Skate replacer. And I know some of you may not like Annual Skate, but Annual Skate was one of my favorite hand cannons and still is one of my favorite hand cannons inside of Destiny 2. Now Cantata is also an adaptive frame hand cannon. It shoots at 140 rounds per minute, and because it is a Suro synergy weapon, you do get those benefits like reduction in flinch after reloading, and of course that bump there in handling. Now I've played with a few roles, but I'm still looking for the God roll. And I gotta say guys, this weapon right here has some interesting combinations. First up, you can never go wrong with an Eye of the Storm timed payload roll, and maybe even Eye of the Storm moving target. I love payload perks. I've talked about it before. It's like a pseudo opening shot, where you can do something like heating up with payload or opening shot, or even moving target, rapid hit, range finder. Honestly, there's so many different combinations here for this weapon. You just primarily want to focus on the stats, right? Boosting that range up as much as you can. For dueling situations though, that Eye of the Storm rangefinder roll, to me, that's going to be the one that really makes this hand cannon separate itself from others. Now for PvE, you can never go wrong with rapid hit and Vorpal. You also have rapid hit and time payload. Focus Fury is another one that I'm also interested in. I'm being told that this weapon is also granted a similar buff in duration, but we'll have to play with this one more. All I'm saying overall though, this hand cannon is looking to be a top meta option inside of PvP. Now moving on, we have the Crisis Inverted. This is an energy hand cannon that deals arc damage. It is in the adaptive frame archetype and shoots at 140 rounds per minute. Now this is an Omlon hand cannon and actually has two different origin traits to choose from. Either One Quiet Moment for that increase in reload speed when out of combat, or Omlon Fluid Dynamics, where the weapon has increased reload speed and stability from the top half of the magazine. And this weapon has a ton of trait options. Personally, guys, back inside of Destiny 1, I never really cared for Omlon hand cannons. They just didn't feel that good. They had a little too much hop on them. However, this one might be the weapon that actually gets the ball rolling for us to start using Omlon hand cannons. Now, its base range is worse than that of Cantata, but it does have some trait combinations that are pretty interesting. First up, rangefinder and moving target together. Always a fantastic combination. You're aiming down sights, you're proccing both of these. You also have rapid hit and kill clip, tunnel vision and kill clip, snapshot moving target. There's a lot of various roles here that you can go for. As far as PvE though, Vorpal is still a great option. Adrenaline Junkie Demolitionist roll together, also a pretty good one. One for All and Stats for All also together, a pretty decent one as well. And for both PvE and for PvP, you can still take advantage of things like Harmony. Maybe land a sniper kill and then proceed to swap over to this hand cannon, and boom, you've got Harmony procced, and you can do like Harmony moving target together. Now because this hand cannon cannon is going to be in fierce competition with Cantata, I do suggest rocking this one with high caliber rounds, just to add that extra bit of flinch. And considering that the weapon comes with increased stability at the top half of the magazine, I think you're going to be okay, right? Now moving on, we have the Frontier's Cry. This is the Ironbender hand cannon, a precision frame, and it shoots at 180 rounds per minute, and it's also a solar-based weapon. Now the origin trait on this is Skulking Wolf. During the hunt, final blows with this weapon grant enhanced radar and remove you from the opposing radar. So essentially in Ironbender games, when you cap 3 different zones, right? That's when the hunt begins, and I guess you're removed from the opposing radar. Now, I've played around with this hand cannon, and I really like it, but at the end of the day, it is a 180, right? Which means its base time to kill value is just not that great. However, combinations like Kill Clip Rapid Hits, always a great one. Tunnel Vision Kill Clip, always a good one. You can get some pretty fast time to kill values with those options. Now, I know there's other options like Iron Reach for that big bump there in range. I do have one with Iron Reach, and considering this is a precision frame hand cannon, you can live without that stability. So if you're looking to just purely bump the range up, you can accomplish that here. I wouldn't necessarily think you need Iron Grip though, because the weapon by default already has really good stability. But in my opinion, guys, for PvP, lean into Kill Clip more, and if not that, then maybe Eye of the Storm. The only one I'm wondering about the most is, of course, Adagio. Can Adagio, with say steady hands, as you're getting a kill, boom, you're buffing that handling, and all of a sudden you're in a situation where your weapon is moving more fluidly, and it's also hitting a lot harder? That is an option to consider. Now, the only synergy I really see for PvE is like 1 for all and stats for all. Now, that's primarily it. Next up, we have the Ogma PR6. This is a lightweight frame pulse rifle. It deals solar damage. It comes with Amalon Fluid Dynamics. And if you don't like Amalon hand cannons, you're gonna like Amalon pulse rifles, guys. They just make really good pulses. Now, this weapon really doesn't have anything here that really stands out inside of PvP. But for PvE, I'm looking at all these combinations. 1 for all, stats for all, disruption break, perpetual motion, wellspring, and you also have that adrenaline junkie demolitionist combo. I think for PvP, you may want to consider doing a heating up roll and dragonfly combination, and just purely tacking on AoE damage after those precision kills. Now, lightweights are not the best in the game right now, but I will say Amalon pulse rifles, despite the time to kill value, really feel good. So I think you can still make Ogma work for you. The other curious synergy here is, of course, adaptive munitions and turnabouts. One of them actually increases the damage output against energy shields that don't match the weapon's damage type, and the other one states that breaking the shield of a combatant or guardian using their super will grant you an overshield. So you got kind of a double whammy there. Next, we have Aisha's Embrace. Now, I know it looks very similar to, what was it, like the Long Cut or something like that? A scout rifle from the Tangled Shore, but it's a Trials scout rifle, and it's a 260 round per minute scout rifle at that. Now, I have no idea if this thing is good, but it does come with the new Alacrity trait, where you gain increased reload stability, aim assist, and range when you're the last living member of your fire team or running solo. This, of course, does work in things like Rumble and solo lost sectors. The weapon also comes with 1 quiet moment, but let's be real, for the most part, you're probably going to be taking advantage of Alacrity, at least inside of PvP, because why not? As far as the rolls to go for, I love 260s, but there's not a lot here in terms of damage perks for PvP that's really poking its head out. Adagio is pretty interesting, and especially like an Adagio perpetual motion combination. You got one thing that's really buffing up the handling as well as stability, the other one that's increasing the damage when landing those final blows. Could this be the perk that allows a scout rifle to 3-tap? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Besides that though, if you're looking for a weapon that just works really well, Eye of the Storm Perpetual Motion is a fantastic combination for dueling. And then of course you have that Tunnel Vision multi-kill clip combo. As for PvE though, obviously Vorpal, especially Vorpal and Triple Tap. You also got Shoot the Loot, just in case, especially if you're far off from opponents. And you can still take advantage of combinations like multi-kill clip, even inside of things like PvE, and maybe even do multi-kill clip compulsive reloader, right? Now, I have not gotten the scout rifle, but people have already said they've gotten it because they saved up some of the trial Ingrams. I'm really interested in trying it. It's got a 5 out of 5 rating right now inside of Crucible, so we'll see. Moving on, we have Pointed Inquiry. This is a craftable weapon. It's a 150 round per minute scout rifle in that high impact frame archetype, and it does have a number of enhanced trait options. Now, 150s, man, they're slow, right? Not only are they slow, but they're kind of sluggish, and they really require you to lane, especially this high impact frame. Now, if you're already laning, why not crouch? Firmly Planted is present on this 150. Fellas, use it all day long. Matter of fact, inside of PvP, I would consider Firmly Planted and Dragon flying together. Now, inside of PvE, you've got Focus Fury, maybe even being Focus Fury and 4 times the charm. Hopefully those two don't work against each other. You've got Dragonfly, which is still a great option to go with. You can do Dragonfly, 4 times the charm as well. Personally, I don't really use 150s inside of PvE, but like I mentioned, the Hake Scout Rifle from earlier also performs very, very well. But I think that Enhanced Firmly Planted though, guys, for PvP, I really want to try that out with Dragonfly. Next, we have the Redback. This is a sidearm and a Vice sidearm at that. And yes, it also has that Vice Stinger origin trait. Not craftable, but it does have a number of options here that are interesting, especially when combined with that Vice Stinger. First up, Subsistence, and you can even do a Subsistence 1-for-all roll. You can imagine just running through there, tapping a few shots off on some enemies, and boom, you're off to the races. You also have Rampage. You can do a Rampage Subsistence combo, which is really, really good. And of course, Vorpal is also present on this one as well, although it is a sidearm. So I don't know how many times you're going to be squaring up with the champion. There is Surrounded on it, and I wish I could say Surrounded is a great option, even for a sidearm. But man, in in-game content, if you're that close to enemies, you probably shouldn't be there. At least close enough to proc something like Surrounded. I will say though, Surrounded though, on a sidearm, it's kind of nice, especially when you proc it with Surrounded spec. As for PvP goes, I think Perpetual Motion and Opening Shot will be the first trait combination I go for, and maybe Killing Wind in Opening Shot. Next, we have the Father Sins. This is an energy sniper rifle and the Rapid Frame archetype. Now, its zoom is 35, and we know that Bungie just made an adjustment where lower zoom scopes have better target acquisition. So with that being said, let's talk about this weapon from a PvP perspective, because I'm looking at that snapshot, no distraction combo all day long. And if you don't like that, then maybe Opening Shot and no distractions, or Opening Shot under pressure, or under pressure snapshot. There's a lot of different combinations, but considering that these low zoom snipers are supposed to have better target acquisition, when you tack that on with things like under pressure, which automatically procs for you inside of PvP when you spawn, we can imagine that the target acquisition of this weapon is probably pretty good. And this is definitely a gun you don't want to judge by its looks, because it's just not that pretty of a weapon. Now inside of PvE, based on what I see here, don't use it. I'm just not that impressed with it inside of PvE, guys. I'm just saying. Moving on, the Fugu. The Fugu just sounds nasty. An adaptive frame sniper rifle, shoots at 90 rounds per minute. Now it has a little bit of a higher zoom, which of course Bungie just nerfs just slightly here recently. But as far as PvP goes, yes, it does have some combinations here that are pretty good. Snapshots with no distraction. You also have moving target here. Personally, I think this is going to be more of a PvE sniper rifle. I love the idea of running and gunning with Vorpal and auto-loading holster. And of course, this is a Sura Synergy weapon as well. So you're not really taking advantage of Sura Synergy with something like auto-loading holster. So if you're looking to take advantage of that, then you may want to consider Compulsive Reloader with Sura Synergy and Vorpal and firing line. Either of those options, like literally just run around, pop a shot off on something, and then instantly reload. Now, if you're playing that route, you may want to consider box breathing, right? You know, I'm just saying, I know I never actually recommend box breathing, but if you're looking to just get that single shot at maximum damage, you do have box breathing, which does grant that 31% increase there in damage. Now, not as much as aggressives, unfortunately, but still more damage than that of firing line and Vorpal. And then you can instantly reload. Outside of that, as far as damage phases go, I think that 4 times the charm firing line is still going to be the combo to roll with. Now, the next weapon is Funnelweb. This is a submachine gun, looks like Recluse 2.0, and is a Vice Stinger weapon, which of course we want to synergize with Subsistence. Now, I love the idea here of a Frenzy Vice Stinger Subsistence roll, right? Just literally laying on the trigger and not thinking about anything. Now, for PvP though, this is a very low zoom SMG, so I'm already looking at Rangefinder, and maybe even Rangefinder Perpetual Motion or Rangefinder Killing Wind. Will this Recluse clone be worth using inside of PvP? I don't know. But inside of PvE, that Frenzy combo with Subsistence, looking pretty good, man. Looking pretty good. Moving on, we have the Tarnation. This is a craftable grenade launcher. It has the Psycho Hack origin traits, and of course, a number of enhanced perks. One of them being this enhanced danger zone. Now, not only does this actually increase the blast radius of your weapon when surrounded by combatants, but it also gives you a base increase to your blast radius in its enhanced form. And you also have enhanced pulse monitor, where automatically reloads the weapon's magazine and improves weapon handling when lightly wounded, even when the weapon is stowed. So lightly wounded. So it's actually going to proc even faster than what buff pulse monitor already procs. So with that in mind, I really do want you to consider pulse monitor on this gun. Now, we also have enhanced clown cartridge, which states that reloading this weapon randomly overfills it from reserves to an improved degree. So even beyond what we are used to. And we also have chain reaction that's enhanced, where each final blows with the weapon create an elemental damage explosion. Also also improves ammo reserves. Now, Ensemble, which is a perk that requires you to be around your allies for that improvement in handling and reload speed, is substantially bumped with the enhanced version. And Field Prep Enhanced greatly increases ammo reserves and improves faster reload, stow, and ready when you're crouch. So even better. There's a lot of different options here to go for, guys. For PvE specifically, I have so many things I want to try in this weapon. That enhanced Field Prep, enhanced Pulse Monitor, enhanced Clown Cartridge. All of these look so good, especially when combined with things like that enhanced Chain Reaction. I really don't know which one of these I want more. I'm gonna have to try all of them, even Danger Zone. Now moving on, we have the Typhon. I think I'm saying that right. This is another grenade launcher, and it's actually an Omlon grenade launcher. Now a lot of different combinations here. This weapon is not craftable, but it does have some perk combinations that are pretty interesting. One of them is this new one, Chill Clip. Direct hits with the top half of the magazine cause a detonation that slows nearby targets. Now how does this synergize with stasis? This is a stasis grenade launcher. That's right. So I'm really interested to see how this would perform together. Some other combinations though to consider is of course Explosive Light here. Now on some levels, Explosive Light has recently been nerfed, right? Because just generating orbs is not as easy as it once was. Now I know there's a lot of other combinations here, but Chill Clip, literally fellas, is the one I'm looking at the most. And considering that it gives you that slow to nearby targets on direct hits from the top half of the magazine, you're probably going to be reloading a lot. So maybe something like Impulse Amplifier with Chill Clip, and of course that Omlon Fluid dynamic. Next we have the Recurrent Impact. This is a machine gun and it's a rapid fire frame. It has that land take origin trait, and combination wise it actually looks really good for PvE. You've got firing line and subsistence. This weapon also has a ginormous mag size, especially if you got a mag perk on it, so you can rock something like One for All subsistence together and just constantly reload the weapon. And this is a stasis machine gun, so you do have headstone also present here. Now personally, I don't like rapid fires inside of PvP, but if you just have a desire to use it, tap the trigger, firmly plant it all day long. Tap the trigger, perpetual motion, also a good one. But again, at least from what I'm seeing here, this is looking to be a weapon I'm going to try more inside of PvE. Next we have the Palmyra. This is another stasis weapon and it's a rocket launcher. Now it's a precision frame rocket launcher, so inherently it has tracking. Unfortunately, these got a small nerf in this most recent sandbox, but it does have that Hockey Breach Armament mod, or trait, where the weapon deals increased damage against vehicles, turrets, barricades, and stasis crystals. Now, it's got a lot of different combinations here. It still has that Chill Clip combo that we saw just a second ago, but I'm already looking at the damage here, right? That Chain Reaction Ambitious Assassin combo. Let's see it, baby. I want to actually see that. You do have lasting impressions, though, and this weapon is also craftable, so every one of these perks are also available in enhance. So things like lasting impression, where your rocket attaches on impact and detonates after delay. This now substantially increases blast radius and increases damage, even beyond what base lasting impression does. So you may want to consider a lasting impression enhanced ensemble combo or impulse amplifier and damage dealing phases. Pair this with someone using Gallahorn on your team with impact casing, we're talking massive amounts of damage, or potentially. Now we have the Red Herring, another craftable rocket launcher. This one deals void damage, and similar to what we saw a second ago, we also have enhanced lasting impression, which is the one I'm focused on the most. The difference here is you can do Field Prep and enhanced Field Prep with enhanced lasting impression. That right there looks so good, guys. Field Prep, enhanced lasting impression, impact casing. I'm projecting massive amounts of damage here. Now the final weapon on the list, we have Razor's Edge. This is that lightsaber wannabe, and man, I was so baited. I thought it was a full-blown lightsaber, but this is the Iron Banner sword. It comes with Skulking Wolf. Now this weapon has Chain Reaction, which is always a great option. Unrelenting, which might be really good as you're pushing into multiple targets. You can proc Unrelenting for that health regeneration. You also got One for All, which may not be that hard to proc on the sword. This is a vortex frame sword, so you're going to be doing spin to win quite often, and during that process you can proc something like One for All. But I love the idea of spinning to win with Chain Reaction with Tireless Blade. Like that one right there looks so good to me. Go in, spin to win, get yourself some ammo back, and in the process make everything around you explode. Now I know that the trait there states its benefits inside of Iron Banner, but I don't really know if I'm going to be using it that much inside of PvP. But inside of PvE, Razor's Edge looks pretty good despite it only being half a lightsaber. So guys, that is all of the random rolls. Again, if you missed part 1, we will link that video above, and if you missed the exotics that dropped this season, we will also link that video. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.